Welcome to the Being Totality podcast, your sanctuary for all things inner exploration, outer expression, and holistic expansion. This podcast was created to be a safe space for like minded people to gather and have meaningful conversations about their own personal journey. Together, we explore the depths of self inquiry, the authentic expression that emerges from it, and the holistic growth that unfolds along the way. I'm your host, Renee Lucas. Thank you so much for being here and tuning in. I hope that you enjoy the show. Welcome back to the Being Totality podcast. Thank you so much for being here with me, Renee, and our guest, Miss Adrienne Lind. Hey, Adrienne.
Hey, it's lovely to see you. Thanks for inviting me.
Yes, anytime. It's so good to have you on the show. So, we've known each other for a while now, and I know your story, but go ahead and introduce yourself to the listeners and tell us what you do.
My name is Adrienne Lind. I call myself a mindfulness activist. I'm a self-proclaimed mindfulness activist because yoga has saved me twice. First time after a sexual assault. Well, actually, going out of the first day window to avoid a sexual assault. I had been raped before. I said not again. And then second time after my dad died, I was just mired in grief. And that was in 2021. So I found myself just mired in grief, went back to yoga. Next thing I know, I'm a yoga teacher and I am writing books about mindfulness and meeting wonderful people like you. You changed my life. I don't know if I told you this, but when I first met you, you were working on an online yoga studio. You were going to do an online studio project. And I saw a posting you put in the Black Yoga Teachers Association Facebook group. And I met with you online, talked, and I learned that one of the requirements of working with you is that you had to have a dedicated yoga space. And I didn't have that for myself in my home at that point. I didn't have that. So I said, well, I have to have a dedicated yoga space because I, work with today. So I want to try to see if we can make this happen. And so since then, I have two in-home yoga studios in the basements of this in my work when I'm home in the States and here I'm in Sweden. And it's all because you had that opportunity out there, talked with me, motivated me, and we've been in touch ever since and doing different projects together ever since. So thank you for that. So I guess just to sum it up, my story is yoga is not just really, some people may think it is. It's not just exercising or turning yourself into a pretzel. You know this, Renee. It's a whole lifestyle. You know how it is. It's 8 months of yoga. The asanas or the movement that we see isn't even the first of them. It's just one of the others. So ever since I came back to yoga in full force, my story is just trying to live yoga off the mat and help other people do it as well. Because we all have stress and grief and things that yoga can help us. I hope that was clear, but I think that's pretty much my life now.
And you know what? That's a beautiful thing. And I'm so happy that it helped you blossom into like your own space and get a deeper connection with the eight limbs of yoga and not just practice it, but live it in your daily life as an example and a guide for how you want to live. Because with the eight limbs of yoga, you learn a lot about yourself and you
Yes.
really tap into like who you are and what you really want. And a lot of people skip past that part because they think it's a trend. They think like all the rich moms do it before like a girl's day or something, but it's actually really
Exactly.
more than that.
Very first experience with yoga included yoga nidra. This particular teacher, and my voice was because my back was bad. I said I had to go out a first grade window. So my back is bad. So my chiropractor said you should add yoga to your routine so they can get you better. So I went and had this wonderful, I just loved it. I was at this church. I think it was $50 for unlimited yoga classes. And so I said, okay, this is great. As I'm walking to somewhere I lived. And my very first class at the end, I know now it was kind of like yoga nidra. But, she put us in rest. But I took to it immediately. So I felt like I had an out of body experience. I was I was gone. I could see myself on the mat. And it is wonderful and peaceful. I don't remember really much about it except for that I just took to it and I was gone. But then I can remember hearing her say, come back into the room. bring motion, movement to your fingers and toes, and then to come back in and thinking, no, I like where I am. So I just kept coming back to her yoga classes. Then I took a yoga training. I realized that was yoga nidra. So I was lucky that my first experience to yoga was such a good one, and I knew I could come back to it when I needed it. And then I could dive deeper and figure out why. Because the reason I became a teacher is, it was during, like I said, my dad died in 2021, in March 22. I didn't say that, it was May. And so that's still the pandemic. So all the yoga classes were online, right? Then I was is so much grief. I just instinctively knew to go to yoga and started doing it online. And it was a great way because I would be in my pajamas, teeth not brushed, really grieving, just a mess. Sometimes just crying on the mat, not doing anything, having that time. And then I ended up to like taking 5 classes a day. I mean, I was just like, really, this is holding me together. And then because it was the internet, if anything went wrong, like I couldn't get on or connection broke down, I was really upset. So I said, let me take yoga teacher training because I need to do this on my own. And then you realize I was like, okay, this is why this is working so well for me because you learn all of those things. The breath. It's just you're breathing. You don't realize you're not even breathing properly. You're holding so much in, and the meditation, and the setting the intentions and so when we put it all together, it is like it helped me build a toolkit to help me with grief. And then I can move on and have a regular life again. And so that's when I said I can help other people with that. Because you can get stuck in grief, but you can get stuck with stress or menopause. I wanted that too. Or you can get stuck with, you lose a job, a shock, transitions. Yoga helps with everything. We talked about this before, like when we first came to yoga, you know, while we're first drawn to yoga, it can help for so many reasons. And I really like it that we need to come to yoga or found yoga. And that's where we can help other people, find it and say there's something in it for you. There's going to be something that can work for you. I truly believe that.
Absolutely. And that is a wonderful thing because yoga can help in so many different ways with so many different things. And a lot of people don't realize that either. Like they don't look into it that deeply.
I'm working on it this year to help me with forgiveness because I'm kind of stuck on forgiveness. Um, And, that's one thing you learn in yoga, forgiveness and self-forgiveness. Part of that is wrapped up in self-forgiveness for me because, you kind of create a situation and then people react. And it's like you look at it, what's my part? Okay, forgive me. And the self-forgiveness as well. So I have to come back to yoga all the time for that. So I try to do that with my journaling and my affirmations and then the breath work when I'm in the moment. Because I mean, I don't know, I was raised Christian, we're supposed to forgive. It's easy to say that. It's so hard to do.
It
It's
is.
so hard to do. It's so hard to do. So I'm using yoga. I've used yoga to help me set boundaries. Like knowing is my word of the year. I think I started in 2021. Yeah, it's been my word of the year and I'll just add on. And I realized with this show, I've got some forgiveness that I've got to grant. It's one thing to say it, but to actually live it and feel it. And that is some self forgiveness wrapped up. So I'm working on that. And I realized, hey, you got the yoga to help you get through that. You don't have to try to figure it out. And I recommend that you can go to therapy or whatever tools. I pray, I don't want them to think that you can. I suggest that you switch out yoga or yoga is a one size fits all. But I think it definitely offers so many components that can come into your toolkit of however you're doing it to get by. And I made it, I say, like, that's just how I'll say the Lord's Prayer over and over. And, it's just forgive us our trespasses. We forgive those who trespass against us. Or you might say, forgive your debts. The thing that is version, I always get that forgive, and I'm like, I haven't forgiven. I'm stuck in a forgiveness cycle myself. So I say it every day, like I pray, forgive me, let me forgive other people. But I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. So I'm hoping I can use later this year to edge closer to forgiveness because it's helped me with boundaries, saying no when I need to say no. I always volunteer for things. And saying no when I don't want to do something, saying no to somebody you love, and you always want to say yes. So that is, been hard. So that's something I still have to practice because I can find myself saying, yeah, no, wait a minute, no. And it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay if you say no. work on that, but forgiveness, girl. I gotta forgive. And you know what? It's gonna be easier. I just realized that I love talking with you because I always have epiphanies. It's like therapy talking with you. But it's like because what is it? In yoga, they're humans. They're spiritual beings having human experiences.
Mhm.
If I can lean into that, I can forgive this person, right? They're just having a human experience. Somebody right now, so they're probably this guy is saying right now I need to be asking for forgiveness for, and then not even realize it. You know how you can see that can be a lot of it. Stop thinking people purposely, and even if they do, they can make a mistake. Human experience. I'm a mindful activist, and we teach yoga. We still are works in progress. So
And
I
another
that's
thing to
good.
add to that is, like, working on forgiveness is really great, but also working on forgiving yourself as well, you know? Like, that
And I
inward
have
part.
You're right, baby. I know I have to. I know I have to, and that was the epiphany that I had. And that can be harder than forgiving somebody else, I think, at least for me. Because you feel like, oh, you let yourself down. You're supposed to be yourself's best friend. When you make mistakes, it's okay. But then it depends. And, you go through a lot of the things. And I'm tired. I want to get to the point where I just want to forgive and be able to forgive myself easier and faster and recognize faster that I need. Okay, why am I feeling bad or something else because I haven't practiced forgiveness? Wherever it's you forgiven me. So many times I make appointments with you, something comes up or I forget, I feel horrible. You forgive me, it allows me to forgive myself. So I'm like, okay, I don't hear from you right now, like she hates me, and I'm like, that's okay. I appreciate that. That you're gracious. It helps me to model. It's like, okay, it's not that bad. I can forgive me. She forgave me. It's not that bad.
Well, see, here's the thing, like, I just assume that you are, like, super busy because you got a lot going on. Like, I was looking through your social media, and I was like, "Girl, you done made it onto the news, you done got books published, like, go on with it, girl, yes, congratulations on that." And I know I'm late because I've been, like, running around and trying to get things done and working on new projects and stuff, but girl, yes, like, that's amazing. Like, were you nervous when you went onto the news channel and, like
Oh, I was saying this thing about Bob was with me, Grace was with me because my mother died December 28th. That was in March the following year. Then my sister went with me. I wrote that book like that November before the December my mother died. And it was for her. I dedicated it to her. It was something she wanted to see me as an author. I know you're a published author. My mom was an author. It's something she always wanted me to do. And then I knew that we weren't going to have mom much longer. I said, I can do this. I can get this in her hands. And I did it. So that was, I was like, mommy arranged that TV thing for me. You know what I mean? I had that spirit with me. Because it was one of those things I thought, oh, let me I don't even know what made the idea came in my head. And oh, I love the cat. I don't even know the idea came in my head. And I know this is what can I get on TV? Like how to do be in media way I want. And I said, I'm not gonna pay them if she else, who it was or take some of it. You're thinking, oh, here we just email the TV station and see, oh, and that thing. He's like, let me just remote the TV. And don't you know, I think I emailed two, three, and one of them emailed and the guy said, yeah, because with the because that was DC, and he said something about the federal workers having to go back in, or there's something about like the timing is just, and that's what
Mhm.
said mommy. It was mommy. It was mommy's spirit. So I was scared, but I took my big sister with me. And you're in the green room. Girl, I'm back there doing, the sunshine, everything, trying to, calm down and be like, don't mess this up. And it was fine, and it just went, it was fine. And I appreciate you noticing, and thank you for
I
that.
thought that was so cool when I saw it. I was like, "Girl, oh my gosh." Like, oh my gosh. Like, I would've been, like, so nervous because, I'm an introvert, and I spend most of my time observing, so it's like, "Oh my gosh, like, I gotta talk and I'm live on TV?"
Well, if you're an introvert, go for radio. I need to try to start going for some radio. We can get ourselves out there. 'Cause my thing is that if you want to help people and nobody knows you out there, how you help? You're not helping anybody. So I think that gave me courage too, and Mama did. And I'll tell you the truth. I tried in Sweden. I tried again when I was DC home For Christmas, nothing, no response. So I won't take that as a I'm not disappointed. I'm like, that's okay. It happened once, it can happen again. And I know it's about timing because when that person came back and said, yes, this is perfect because. So they were able to make a link that I would have never made myself if I was sending a pitch. So it
Mhm.
was just a random. So that's the lesson for me. Don't be it's like, okay, so what? And if I never do it again, girl, I got that video. I got that clip. I did it.
Right.
If I never
Right.
do it again.
And
And I
there's
was
nothing
going to
like
do
the
it
first
again.
one. There's nothing like the first one.
Nothing like the first one. And here's my thinking, I'll never do it again if I don't try. So I don't mind trying, and I don't even see it as failure if they don't respond. You know what I mean? It's not like they have my email. They're not gonna email. They'll respond if it lands. So I just have to, you know, what's the meal I want to be? Be serious about it. Like if I know I'm gonna be like if it's something I want, because I'm not in DC a lot. That is often since my parents are gone now. I don't have to be there as often. So just be serious about it. And the same thing with my forgiveness. I need to be serious about it. If I really want to be serious about forgiveness, I need to work on it. And just in one day it'll feel like it takes. Because I don't want to
Absolutely.
carry that feeling forever. That's one thing I
Exactly.
say about forgiveness. It's not for the other person, it's for you. And I'm starting to believe it. It's like
Yes. No, like, it really does work like that because, like, it's easier to forgive someone else, but it's way harder to forgive yourself, and if you hold that inside, that will create that negative energy in your aura, and then you would start to attract negative things, and then all of a sudden, all the time, there's bad things happening and stuff, so you gotta let that energy go and replenish it with good energy. And that's another thing that I'm working on. Like, I've been working on, making sure that my thoughts, my subconscious is in the positive because your thoughts and your actions all put together will make your energy change. Your energy is always changing. It's like blood pressure. Like it's always going up, down, side to side, bouncing around and all that. So I tend to right currently I've been focusing on just my energy and my aura and my chakra work and just making sure that I have the right frequency to be able to attract the things that I know that I am in desire of, and making sure that I have, like, a very pinpointed specific intention behind it, because all of that goes in hand too, along with meditation, and then also, like, doing the yoga and moving that energy around and all of that, just really leaning into energy. So, like, I think it's a really wonderful thing because you have to be aware to even begin to want to work on forgiveness, whether it's for somebody or yourself or anything.
maybe it's something because I know you brought it with this me with this energy stuff. So I'm doing the meditation, like you said. I'm doing the journaling. I'm doing the intentions. Some of the intentions are or the affirmations are to kind of like repair what I feel is damaged in the relationship. So I'm stating those in the positive, in the present, as if this relationship was back whole like I was before. I feel like it was a repair. So I'm doing that work, the meditation. What else can I be doing to get this like around my aura work? I'm doing the movement to move the energy through my body. But like, what else do you think I can be doing around forgiveness? Like, help me remember what chakra is that stuck in? Because it may be stuck in more than one. 'Cause I feel like it's in my heart chakra, but then maybe up here too.
Well, I feel like it can move. It can move
Mhm.
and it moves periodically. So that's why I always recommend don't focus on just one chakra, but
Okay.
make sure that you are looking at all of them because again, it's like blood pressure, it moves around your body. So I mean, if you're wanting to focus on your heart chakra, that's not a bad idea because I feel like a lot of people have a lot of energy and pent up frustration and stuff in their heart because your heart and your mind, again, is in two different areas. And that, whatever it is, can move around and it can really get into your brain
Mhm.
and affect your subconscious and all of that. So I would continue to work on all of them just to make
Okay.
sure that everything is balanced. because
Yeah.
balance is what you want. And the thing that really helped me, like I got this frequency machine where you can put in different frequencies. And when I meditate, I try to use the frequency at the same time and mesh those together. And that's been helping me when it comes to like my subconscious thoughts. Affirmations are good that you do, and that helps as well. But I would just mesh all those together. Like you said earlier, like there's not a one size fit all. I would do what resonate with you and then go from there.
That's good advice, and I like that. And I didn't even know frequency machines um, existed. How interesting. But I do, there was some frequency meditation I was listening to. I have to see if I can find it. But that makes sense. I do believe that I used to sleep to. Yeah, I used to sleep to it when I was visiting my parents. Yeah, like in my, I'm trying to remember the names. I don't know maybe if I was having trouble sleeping or just calming or fear, when you're caregiving for elderly parents. I can't remember, but I do know the frequency thing. And yeah, I'd wake up when it was off. Yeah, because that's right. And it'd be some YouTube video of it have it like on the floor. So the light didn't bother me or whatever. And it would play its hour or however long. Those are helpful. So you have a frequency machine. Good to know that they exist. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I had mine for a couple of years now, and at first I was like, "I think it's cool, so I'm gonna buy it, but I don't know how to use it." And then once I started researching, bought a few books and read those, and I was like, "Okay, I think I know what I'm doing, and I think I'm gonna start at this frequency and build my way up." And it has worked wonders for me. Like, I absolutely love it. And also my singing bowl set, that helps too.
Oh, you have one. You have one. You have a singing bowl set. You have one.
Yeah.
I love singing bowls. Wow. Wow, good for you.
Yes, I fell in love with my singing bowls, and it's like a really big set. It's like a set of, I think it's like 8 bowls, and I just
Wow.
set them up in a circle, and I just whatever frequency that I'm on at the time, that's the one I start with, and I just keep going around and move that energy around. And for me, subconsciously, I feel like when you do that and you purposely, intentionally move the energy around, it's making you not only present, but it's also making the energy aware that you are present and that you are there, you know?
See, girl, I was looking up thinking, okay, here goes some more money. Singing bowls and frequency machines. I'm gonna start researching it though. But I do know that whenever I have taken a practice and the instructor uses singing bowls, it's been wonderful. I love it. And
Yes.
I grew up in a musical household with parents musicians. But is there training that you do with it? You learn as you go.
Mhm. Mhm. You asked if there's training that goes with it?
I wonder, yeah, how do you know how to use to make the most sing or like what to do? Like just seeing if you train, like how you can do anything Renee though. I mean, I'm not surprised. But how do you know how to do it?
So I did a lot of research first and I read a couple of books and I was like, okay, like I don't want to mess anything up. But then again, you have to start somewhere. And the first singing bowl that I got was like a little small one that I can put in my hand. I bought that one first as a tester before I bought my set. And I learned how, like, where I need my wrist to be and what part of the bowl I need to have the little stick on. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay, let me just see if I could just produce the sound first, because that's like the
Yeah,
hardest part. It's just like getting that angle right.
yeah.
Once I learned how to do that and I learned and began a relationship with that in particular frequency, I was like, and then I started to like meditate with it. And that's when I was like, okay, so now I understand the reasoning for like some people have like 8 bowls and
Sure.
4 bowls and things like that. And they're different sizes, and the different sizes
Mhm.
represent different frequencies. And I'm like,
Okay.
okay. And it's literally just that easy. Like, you just got to understand what frequency you resonate with, and the research when you research, frequency and singing bowls and all of that along with your chakra work, it'll tell you what frequency is best for what chakra. And that's why I keep saying that balance is key when it comes to any type of energy work that you're doing because it moves. And that's another reason why I say that yoga is so different because you're moving that energy. Because I've seen people that has the most amazing flows ever.
Mm,
And the reason why it looks so good is not only because the postures or the asanas are but it's because that energy is also balanced with the movement of the posture, and it
yes.
connects like that. And I'm like, that was an aha moment for me.
Okay. Well, I love y'all. More inspiration from you. Thank you. I'm going to look into it because I know I enjoy it whenever the sound healing, so
Yeah,
I'm glad it's
absolutely.
working for you. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I would say start small. Get like, there's like a 2 bowl set that you can get off of Amazon. Start small, and then you can move to a bigger set, or you could just get the frequency machine. It's both the same, but a little bit different because you're creating the frequency yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
And with the frequency machine, you just type in like the actual frequency that you want. Either way is going to be fantastic, and they're both very effective as well.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you. You look good. So, how long have you been using the Well, you said you had your frequency for 2 years now. But the sound bowls, how long have you been doing the sound bowls?
The sound bowls, I've been doing that for 1 year extra, so about 3 years. My first set, I've had that for about 4 years, and then I upgraded to my 8 set because it gets expensive. Like, my
I know they're
8
not
set,
cheap.
that set I think I got lucky because the set that I have now is like $1,200, but back then when I bought it, it was like $800, and I was like, I was
Wow.
lucky enough to have an extra $800 just sitting around for a singing bowl.
Good you got it and it did. And they last forever, I would imagine.
Huh?
They last forever. Imagine the singing bowls last forever. So you made a good investment.
Yeah, definitely. They came with the bag with the cushions in it, and I keep them in there to keep them protected. But yeah, as long as you take care of them, you should be fine with those. Like, you shouldn't have to buy a new set again unless you want to.
Seeing some load out, they did be pretty. Okay, more inspiration. I can always listen to some too, but I'm going to start my research because it is going to help me move. It's a forgiveness, working on forgiveness, and I like to try new tools and anything in the toolkit. Never let your life spin a throw at you. So if I could add frequency work or sound healing, sound bowls, I know I like it when I experience. So I'm not trying to have it at home, though, and not just have it be an experience that I have when I'm out. I like to, try to bring it at home.
Yeah,
I mean, I
absolutely.
would have to, yeah. I can, yeah. Yoga, yeah. Have it at home. And like to say, yoga doesn't have to be a lot of things. If it's just 5 minutes, we listening to frequency music, to frequency of 1 day, that's a great practice. You know what I mean? Because some days you don't have time for more, or may not have time for what you normally do. Let me put it like that. So I want
Yes.
that frequency work. Yeah.
And you know what? Another thing that you can try is the
Yeah.
tuning fork. The tuning forks would be good if you're, like, moving around a lot because you could literally just throw it in the bag, and if you feel off a little bit, then you can just ding it and then put it on your chakra, and it also heals that way as well. And I know that you do a lot of traveling.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna look for that now. Y'all you said that makes my heart sing. It almost also reminds me of my parents because they were musicians. So I know a tuning fork. So I'm writing that down right now. I'm grabbing a piece of paper. Shoot, the pen fell. Yeah, I really remember that a tuning fork. Yeah, because that's something I can have in my. I love that, Renee. Thank you. Tuning fork. Okay, I know. Like, no, I'm looking for the pill. I'm gonna write that down, but I'll remember tuning fork. Okay. Yeah, I need a tuning fork. Thank you. It's nice as always like therapy when I talk to you. Good for me.
You because, like, since we're, like, catching up at the same time, like, how's your podcast and everything going?
And enjoy the Save Me podcast. And oh, you know what? Let me officially invite you back for another Talk Tuesday episode. And maybe we can talk about sound bowls and sound healing, and maybe you could do a little bit. Mm,
That would be
that would
good.
be good. Yeah, I just thought about that. Okay, so I'm gonna follow up with you on that and give you the link to book. But the podcast is still good. But you know what? Now that you said that, I'm a little off with adding those regular the meditations and practices because I have been busy. So I'll do thank you for reminding me. I try to do weekly practices, whether it was meditation or breath work or some type of short yoga practice. So I really get back to doing that. My favorite thing is to talk Tuesday, the conversations with yogis. So yeah, the next one will be with you. It'll be about song. Even you can do a demonstration. That would be great. And I love the podcast. I love having a podcast because it is something that, I know that too later and can listen to. If I need a yoga nidra, I'm like, oh, let me just send my podcast. I'm like, oh, I can just go to my podcast. And the thing with knowing yoga nidra, I'm usually out in 10 minutes anyway. So I hope it's okay for everybody else, because I never get to the end of the yoga nidra. So I would just go mine, or if I'm like, oh, I need a quick meditation. So I use it for a reference. And so I hope it's helpful for other people. Now that you're 2026, I don't know. Like last year, I kind of said self care for crazy times. 2025 is kind of seemed like it was so crazy for a lot of reasons. So I really just saying if I should have this thing for 2026, I just keep going. It still seems like it's crazy times. I don't know.
Yeah, you should totally do it because, like, everything is kinda wild right now, and I think everybody right now, the best thing that we can get is grounded, and
Yeah.
I feel like most people are not grounded right now, which is why everything is going a bit crazy in the world and, all there's just too much. It's too much negativity floating around, so we need to get back grounded for sure.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, I feel like if people just know how to meditate, that's why I'm like, if I can get this forgiveness thing together, you know what I mean? Because I can understand how people get hooked up on certain things. So this is my thing, and I still won't be perfect if I get over it. But then it don't easier for me to tell people, oh, I know how hard it is, trust me. If you can figure a way around it, here's the tools I use to try to do it. Because like you say, the world is people that are just more grounded. And speaking of grounded, I thought about you for this because I thought you didn't know. Have you used one of those grounding mats? Have you seen those? You can either have them on your bed. Okay. And I always think of you, this is a rip off. But you plug it in, and I don't know, it's supposed to it grounds you somehow. If it's a you can have it on your mattress. I don't know if you sleep with it or just lie in it for a little while. But I think when I say grounding in this term sense, like when you take your shoes off and you're just out in the glass, how you're grounded that way. It's supposed to get that same benefit from this. But you want me to try one of those.
Oh, I haven't tried one of those. I don't know, I'm weary about a lot of the things that's coming out now, especially, like, with everything in the economy going the way it is. I feel like everybody's just trying
Hmm.
to make a buck, so I'm not sure how I feel about them. Have heard of them before, but
You
there's
have
nothing
okay.
like walking around, like, in the dirt. Like, I need dirt under my feet.
I know. I was gonna say you got my money to be had a cold to get seen because when you think about but you're like, well sometimes you can't always actually literally go outside and get your feet in the so that's the only thing that made me think about it. I said, oh, well, what mean because somebody mentioned it and then I thought, wait a minute, like you said, I said, this is probably maybe this is milk, but I don't know if I'm buying a white one, a good one. Let me do more research and see what the thing is that I do the benefits of grounding, like going outside, like you say, put your feet in the dirt. So I don't know how this can replicate it, but I haven't done the research. So if you find out anything, let me know. But again, like looking for any tools to help keep things moving. And life gets harder. I don't like it even, but the older you get, the more challenges you have, the more losses you have. The older start dying. Friends start dying. Things come. So I'm always looking for a tool. So I was like, okay, this welding machine sounds good, but then I thought plugging it just didn't make sense to me. But that doesn't mean it doesn't work. Exactly, it just didn't make. So I have to do more research. Yeah, feet in the grass or in the dirt, touching flowers or plants. I feel sorry for people who don't have the opportunity to do it or, maybe don't live in near green spaces or don't have neighborhoods that have green spaces or, I don't know. Or maybe, I don't know. I've talked to some people who are like, I don't have any place, nice. And I'm thinking if you just have a little piece of grass right in the So, I don't yeah, I can't imagine that in their mind, they don't have anything. So it doesn't have to be big of a space as we think, does it, to
No, it
benefit?
doesn't even have to be a big space. It just has to be a meaningful and intentional space. And
Yeah.
when I want to go out and get grounded, I always go to one of my favorite nature trails, and it's here, the nature trail that I go to is called Blevins Gap, and it has, like, waterfalls and stuff, and it has its own
Wow.
vibe when it's, like, foggy in the morning and stuff, and I'm like,
Wow.
"Man, I feel so charged up when I'm in nature." And that's another reason why, like, I have a hard time, trying to, like, pick, like, an actual house that I wanna purchase because it's like, do I wanna be by the ocean
Mm.
because I love the water, or do I wanna be up in the mountains where there's rocks and I can see deer and all the animals and stuff and have, like, a waterfall? It's such a hard decision.
Waterfalls are magical. Whenever I hear waterfall, you just think, "Oh, wow," waterfall is just it seems magical. So, yeah, I even encourage people if you can't I think lucky you didn't know waterfalls? That sounds magical. And even if you can't, if you're not near waterfalls, right, if you could just walk and get some air and maybe see a tree or plant or something. But, I feel good even when I go to like the plant store and then you
A
walk in,
nursery.
that the nursery, that's the word, exactly. I love going to the nursery. There's a nursery near me. I love just going to the nursery and walking an aisle and, just looking at everything and having that can give me such a boost too. So that might be an option for people that don't feel as if they have a good green space. If you can get into a nursery or a flower, even a flower shop, because
Mhm.
you get the smell and something about the smell too. But waterfalls, okay, wow.
I've always told you that, like, I love the sound of water, like, just falling and, like, the waves and stuff. It's therapeutic to me. It gets me grounded, it makes me think, it helps my creativity. It does so much for my inner spirit. So, I tend to like, if even if it's not a waterfall, like, just nature trails and just being out in nature and just hearing the birds and squirrels running across the leaves and stuff, I'm it charges me up, like, nothing charges my battery up like a good nature walk, and it's not like one of those, like, walking trails that's, like, fancy with concrete, like, I wanna be walking in dirt, I wanna step on a rock. No, I need that in my life.
So if you're having a bad day, you can go to the nature trail and just feel better.
Yeah, like, if I'm
That's good
having
to
a
know.
very off day, I do go to a nursery, and then, like, I end up buying, like, 5 lavender plants and some aloe vera and all that, because then I get into the mood, you know? And I love places that give you, like, a positive mood because it boosts your energy, it makes your frequency radiate higher so you can get those good waves out there, and it just has a vibe to it, you know?
Yeah, there's some home decoration stairs that I like to go in that just I just love to take pictures. Like you saw, it's in different like the nursery, a home that where like this fantasy table, set out for 18 people with all this stuff. It's like I would never do that. But I love seeing it. It's like walking into a magazine, like home and God, and so there's this one stage, a wonderful display in the window, and okay, everything over here is green and everything over here is yellow. So I could just walk to that store and then let you look around. And every once in a while, there's a sale and I'll buy something. I'll just be just so happy spending 10 minutes coming in and going out. And that's like my inspiration for the day. So I know what you mean. If you can find those happy places and go to them when you can, they're a lifesaver. I feel good if I see palm trees like, this is where it's supposed to be palm trees, because this means it's probably mild here. I feel great when I see ocean, like you say, here in the water. But the waterfalls, you got me with the waterfalls. I love that too. Because, I imagine waterfalls like at the end of a train, like you're in Maine, Washington, you're walking out there and then you get to, you're in it with a waterfall. So that's just, yeah, like magic
It's
for
it's
me.
a whole vibe, and then, like, with the one that I go to, like, some people like, you know how some people don't like to go out when it's, not, like, fully raining, but, like, drizzling a little bit? That's my
Mhm.
favorite time to go out because that's when I can, like, find it, and then they have, like, covered sitting areas, and I could just, like, read a book and just stay out.
Oh, wow. Lovely. Oh, you probably have it all to yourself because like you say, people don't want to be out then. So you have it
Yeah.
all to yourself.
Mhm. And that's the best part because I don't know, like, I don't mind being, like, around people, but I am I'm not for everyone. My personality is a little bit different. So, like, I tend to not curate, but be very specific about where I place my energy, such as like the environments that I'm in, the people that I'm around. So, I don't really like too big of a crowd, you know? I like to have like a small, intimate, like intentional gathering around me and have, like, deep, meaningful conversations, which is another reason why I started this podcast because I keep meeting so many great people, and I'm not a big fluff talker. So I'm like, "Okay, I wanna talk about these things. So why not start the podcast so I can literally curate the conversations that I wanna have and make friends and do collabs and, really have meaningful connections there." And I think that I'm definitely accomplishing that because I've already spoken like, I just started this podcast, and I've already spoken to amazing people, like, their stories are,
Fantastic.
like
See what happens when you're really intentional? I have you been really intentional about this. Good for you. Congratulations, by the way. And good for me for see, in order you're doing something right, and then you can get this kind of guests that are exactly who you want to talk to and that you're meeting. So that, it that's kind of like validation. You're like, okay, yeah, this was a good idea.
yeah, and then it also makes me feel like, where I live in Huntsville, Alabama, like, there's a lot of fake fake stuff going on, and I'm pretty sure that's, like, everywhere, you know? And I'm like, "Okay, so I need to this next project that I want to do has to be specific and super intentional because there are other underlying reasons why I started the podcast." But the biggest thing was for me to really understand that I'm not the only one out there that feels like I wanna have meaningful conversations. I wanna make like-minded friends. Even if, like, I have to, like, travel to see them and stuff, that'll give me something to do, and I like planes, I will fly to you, But the connection is meaningful and, if the connection is right, then everything else falls in line. And to me, that is very fulfilling because I don't use the word friend lightly. And when I call someone a friend, that means that like we're like-minded, we have similar interests, we like meaningful conversations. I can bounce ideas off of you, get motivation from you, et cetera, instead of like, the fake friend fluff stuff because that's not real. That's just entertainment. And that's what I was finding out here where I'm at because I'm a very different person. I'm like this boho type of yogi slash alternative rock girl, And I'm like, there's not many of us like where I am. So like I'm kind of a sore thumb. But here's another thing. On my journey, I have become extremely comfortable with being the sore thumb. And I turned that into a positive. And I didn't even realize I was doing that, you know? And it was literally a light bulb for me. So now I'm, like, more comfortable with myself. I don't have
Okay.
as much of a hard time looking inward, and that kinda led to the podcast, and I'm just letting it flow, you know?
See, I know nobody can do you better than you. And then leaning in into uniqueness. That's hard to I mean, it sounds like you're totally well, hey, I don't wanna say totally comfortable, like, if you're comfortable and you're finding your basin, and I don't wanna say finally, but it seems like you're saying, "You know what, no, this is letting me here." Ooh, that's very different from when I first met you, don't you think? Because when
Yeah.
I first met you, you were starting a new project, and then you were like, you kinda put the you met someone and you kinda put the brakes, and then this one sounds more intentional. I was on board for the last project though. Remember, I was on board. Just when you're like, yeah, it's just like I see more maturity. I it's ain't gonna be on there. It seems the time goes by. It's fast. It's blended. It seems like it's I don't know, time just changes when you get older. Or maybe you saw this happen, the older you get, the faster it goes by. That's true, but sometimes it seems like it's long or slow and then really fast. So it's been mixed up for me with the times. But what you described sounds like a growth from the last time we talked about like a project. Does that make sense? Like I'm trying
Yes. It's a
that's how
it's
you
a
got
growth. It's a growth because I was feeling myself changing and morphing, and I didn't know how to understand it. I didn't know how to comprehend it at the time, but I did know that I have a goal, and I wanted to do a online yoga studio, and because I love yoga and this is what I'm passionate about, et cetera, et cetera. And then I was like, the more I do yoga, the more growth I feel. And then also because you have those growing pains at the same time. And then I started second guessing myself. And then I was like, okay, wait a minute, let me pause because I feel something here, you know? And I had to take some time to, like, really figure out what that feeling was and why it was there,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And that took a while for me because I was like, "Is this good or is this bad? Is this weird? Am I just, like, overthinking?" Like, I really had to dig into every single aspect just to understand what that feeling was so that I would know how to navigate it because I'm already becoming, like, aware of it. So if I'm aware of it, like, okay, well, let's explore it and
Yeah.
see what's going on with that. And I'm glad that I did that because I have grown into a person that I like even more than when I started my first project.
Yay. Wow. That's beautiful. That's wonderful. Wow. Woo.
And you know what, Adrian?
Oh,
That's one of the magic potions of yoga because it'll make you do that. The longer you practice it, the more you do that.
even brave enough to stop and say, I'm not going to ignore this. Something's happening. Let's examine it. And it took all the time that you needed. That's wonderful. Because our culture is like, no, no, no. We want things faster. Don't want to backtrack or don't want to. Well, that's wonderful. And I like this much better than, you doing something just or keep doing something because you started it, even though it doesn't maybe doesn't feel right. You know what I mean? Because I've been in that situation too. You're like, well, I have to because that's it's like, what? You don't have to. You can get out of it now if it doesn't feel right. So good for you for doing that. You helped me so much in the process. So maybe, that whole thing was just so I can get a yoga studio. And now I have two. So thanks. You
Yeah.
starting that whole process is a big changer for me. And you may not have envisioned what you thought you were going to envision when you started, but the impact it had on me has doubled. I went from having one dedicated space to having two. And it's all because of you. You let me know your benefit other people get from when you even when the projects don't go the way you think they're gonna go, you know? Don't
Yeah.
forget that. You changed my life with that. I had two beautiful. It's like you don't have to be careful. I said, I never see it's not on the street on the sign that people come in and but I have it in Homo and it's because of so you're always gonna be part of my yoga story. What
I
did
am
you know
glad that
that?
I left a very good impression on you because, like, I was literally trying hard and I was like, okay, so maybe this is a sign. But I'm glad that I made an impact for you because you've grown so much and I'm so proud of your progress. Like, that's amazing. That's phenomenal. And not a lot of people, take the proper action to do things like that. So, like, just doing it and putting the action into it is amazing.
No, you kidding? No. Well, that's why I never tell you no. And I had just been teaching a few months, I think. The first interview, I had processed all that is needed to you. The impact me. I haven't turned back. I'm like, so yeah, thank you very, very much for that. And I love hanging out and seeing what you're gonna do and see where you pop up. Like I said, never tell you no. So next time we're doing this, you're gonna be on my podcast and we're gonna do the sustainable things. And that's gonna be good because I want to learn a lot about that. So that's gonna be good. Well, I'm just so proud of you and what you're doing. Next time we go to this, maybe take a video. I'd love to see the waterfalls. When you're in the waterfalls, when you're in the park.
Absolutely. I'm gonna have to, like, remember like, my biggest thing because I have the YouTube channel as well for this podcast, and, like, I always forget to record. Like, I always forget because, like, I'm, like, on a hike, and then I'm like, "Crap, I don't have my camera," and then I don't have my phone, I just have, like, my watch, and I'm like, "No."
Okay, so next time, yeah, get a water because now you don't get to see waterfalls.
Yeah.
And then you'll know how lucky you are, but you can just go to your natural park to the
I'm
waterfalls. Not a
gonna
lot of
make a
people get
note
to
of
do
it
that.
so that I can put it on the YouTube channel so everybody can see it because it's so beautiful.
Yeah, and that'd be nice inspiration because you're all inspiring. So to see the waterfalls. Yeah.
So I got a big question for you. Okay.
Yeah.
So when it comes to inner exploration, where are you in your journey when it comes to yourself outside of the forgiveness that you're working on? Like, how has it helped you in your journey by looking inward?
Yeah, exploration, it can be it seems scary. But like you say, outside of the forgiveness thing that I'm working on, it's helped me with the grief. It's just that I came back to it as strong with the grief after my dad died and then my mom died 3 years later. It's helped me with the grief because you can be so overwhelmed. I was so overwhelmed with the grief. It's always to feel lost or like I would be lost, even though I'm a fully grown adult. So just having had such fantastic parents all of my life. So looking inward, they made to calm me down from that because I was able to remember who I am, focusing on the grief, but I remember who I'm grieving, and then know that I'm totally prepared. Even though I'm thinking I'm not prepared, even though I'm old. But my parents completely prepared me, properly, and we had such a lovely time together as a family. So that was able to calm me down. And I didn't have any regrets. I didn't have any, I wish I had done this or any of that. So it helped me manage the grief as well, because that had been my biggest problem, like, since 2021. She was just kidding me. And looking inward is able to help me, manage grief. I hope that makes sense. Like, 'cause many just so lost, or sad and depressed. Sometimes all you can do is sit and think. But I hope that made sense. It's helped me with my grief because I spent so much time just grieving and sad and crying and just thinking I'm gonna be lost and what am I gonna do? That whole feeling sorry and well, I'm an adult orphan and really just being overwhelmed with that and then thinking what am I gonna do? Being able to sit and say, "Okay, yeah, you're fine. You're well prepared. You're gonna be sad, but you don't need to panic. You're gonna be fine. Parents left you in a good situation. You've got your sister. You're gonna be okay." But you had to really look. I had to really look and convince myself I am gonna be okay because every time I didn't think I was gonna be okay, and I was so surprised to be so overwhelmed with the grief. And then the daddy, that threw us all on such a new. And my mom, I thought, okay, that's it. I just can't, me, that's it. I'm just, I don't have any more purpose. So that then, mom in the 94, dad in the 95. But yeah, helping me to anywhere to really see who I am and know you. I can, because there are times I thought I could just curl up and die now. Not really going real suicidal plans or anything. Or, just really thinking, I could just maybe with onward. You're like, "Are you kidding? Your parents prepared you for this, and they would be so disappointed." I can still have that talk that I had when they were alive, like, and then realize, nothing's gonna change. You just can't hug them. But that love will stay there. You can still have those conversations. So that was really gonna work for me because it was touch and go for me. I was just horribly miserable, surprisingly so. So that is
Yeah.
it for me.
I definitely understand that, and I feel like you're expressing that through, like, the exploration of other things like the sound healing and stuff like that because you're trying to navigate through it, but you also wanna help other people navigate through it too, and that is a fantastic thing, and that's a great sign of a fantastic teacher because, like, you wanna teach what you're also practicing in your daily life, so I feel like that is absolutely fantastic.
Oh, thank you. I hadn't thought about it that way. See, I'm thinking about the other stuff. I'm only doing stuff that I need. You know? Oh, I'm so sure. Oh, okay, we need to get this out with both. And I like, you're right. But I can't, I don't want to say you're right. That makes me a good teacher. But you're right. I want to show what I'm practicing. So thank you for helping me look at it and say, oh, that's going to make me a good teacher. So thank you for that. But you're right. I am.
Because
Bless you.
it's literally the awareness, like, you're aware of it, and you're trying to navigate it, and you're teaching yourself, and nothing makes a better teacher than to actually be going through something and navigating it in a way that works for you that somebody else may not know about. So, I feel like that's wonderful, and I feel like you're doing a great job just, like, trying to navigate it and find paths because, like, you're right, like, you're not, like, dead, like human dead, but you're dead inside. Like, it can definitely make you feel that way, especially when you have a good connection or, like, a intense, strong connection with people that you really love. So, it can be hard, but it's growing pains at the same time. Grief you got the grief part, and then you got your growing part because it's helping you look in more because you are changing a little bit, because, like, the normal stuff that was there and has been there is not there anymore.
I think you just found exactly where I am in changing. And I was not going to say that, but I think like if you have an injury or you hurt yourself, you compensate in other ways. Maybe if you have a hurt further, something in there, you'll compensate for that. So I feel like my grief is, I don't know how I can say it, but it's like glowing around this pain that I have. I don't even know if I can articulate what I'm trying to say. Like that pain, the grief I have, I feel is like this pain that I always have and I'm learning and so it's always there. The stuff is growing around it. That's giving me that to life or helping me live, if that makes
Yes.
sense. So this is
I
not
just
going
envisioned that
anywhere.
in my head.
Yeah, yeah. So that's not gonna go anywhere. But things blowing around over it. And that's like new life, kind of like after a volcano, the ashes come down and it's like dead. Like years later, there's I feel like I'm in that stage.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a beautiful stage to be in because, like, you're learning different things and you're navigating. So, I mean, you're definitely tougher than nails.
Appreciate that. And that's part of that when I'm thinking, when I'm like, oh, I could just give up. And you're like, you're tougher than that. And please, ways you better than that. This is just feeling, it's okay. Like I said, that's gonna, I was like, it's gonna always be there. It's okay. They're with you and they expect you to keep growing. And that's the stuff that's growing around me. And you're coming into this other stuff. But yeah, so I wish it didn't have to be that way. But, you know, if you love, some point you're gonna have some loss. You know,
That's the circle.
there are what can I say? I'd much rather be grieving than not have anything to grieve for, let's put it like that.
Right.
Yeah, because that's the other way to look at it. Nobody wants to lose anyone, but I had wonderful parents who lived long lives, so I didn't have any tragic losses or anything like that. And that's fine. I just have to navigate it. So I'm navigating it. I couldn't do it without yoga. I could not do it without any of the limbs of yoga. I could not do it. I can't imagine it. And I couldn't do it without friends and family and prayer. It's a bunch of stuff. So
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like, with all of this that you're going through and all of these growth that you're going through, has it had an effect on any type of holistic expansion for you?
I don't know. Most of that's weird. Anytime I'm adding something on, it seems like I've always been doing it, or it just seems so natural. And I try so many different things, and so many things stick. So, for example, there are some breathing exercises that I don't like. But breathing in general, so I will try them all, and 9 out of 10, maybe like most of them I don't like, or maybe I haven't practiced it enough. I can't think of any one of the breath of life, I think it is, maybe. I haven't perfected that one yet, so I may not. But all of those feel so natural, so I feel like, I don't know if you know like that experience. Like I don't name my first yoga class, but at the same time, it feels like I've always been doing it. Yeah, so I do like I did the breath of fire. Is it breath of fire? Is it breath of fire? What's the one there? Yeah, with the hydraulic I can do it, but I can't do I need to practice it more, I think, to get the benefit. But so
Yeah.
I don't so I think all of it, like, I can't say one thing.
I'm looking at my hot and 2 chart, and it's breath of fire. You're right.
I need to work on that. And I feel like all of it is working for me. Some of it I need to practice more.
Mhm.
Some of it I can take right away. I'm like, "Oh, this just took right away." And some of it I need to practice more. But none of it I haven't had anything that's like, anything used to trigger me, even don't trigger me. I think the teacher said belly. That used to trigger me. I don't know why, but it doesn't anymore. I'm like, okay, that's okay. Because I just think, say stomach. A lot of people say belly. We're grown ups. That kind of just annoys. So even little things like that, I'm having even less weird to chatter in that. I think because I practice so much. I don't know if you heard that. It could be so weird, like little things. Like I worry about not triggering people, but like belly used to trigger me. And I'm like, why? I don't know. But now I'm like, that doesn't. Because I can remember I had my name pierced and it used to say going, and I was an adult. So I don't know. So I'm like, why am I an adult when you're making that? Why can't the teacher says, breathe into your belly? So it's weird about, again, that's in our work, I guess. It is weird about what can bug you.
Mhm.
So I've worked through a lot of little things like that. Because I can remember there was this very good teacher I avoided for a long time because she said belly one time and just triggered me. But she's a good teacher. She's a good teacher. I mean, it's silly when I think about it. She's a good teacher. It's not like she says belly in her class. I can just remember one time. So it could have been that day. I think that who knows what kind of mood you're in. And then I thought, let's see, this is a good class with this lady because she said belly. And I can hear belly and not be triggered. So, yeah, I can, our minds are stronger than that. And I didn't have a direct relationship with that. But I do worry about, when I'm doing meditations that and doing visual imagery that you don't trigger anyone. So that's why I would say belly. I'm sorry, stomach instead of belly. Because there's a lyrics in mine where belly may trigger someone, because maybe they were abused as a child. There's so many things to think about. And then at the end, you're not going to hit every mark. And maybe you do trigger somebody. And I just hope it'll be for a little bit. Or they could be like me and come back to me and say, Adrienne just said that one time. She doesn't trigger me every
That's really
time.
like, I've taught some classes, and the funny thing is, it's like the word moist makes people triggered sometimes, and I'm like, they like, it's just hilarious to me. I get it now because, like, I researched it, and it's like some people really hate that word moist. They said, "Say wet instead of moist. Say something else besides that word." It does sound funny, though.
Every time I hear voice, I'll get a laugh. No, I know. And I want to take, because you want everybody in your class to feel comfortable and to receive something. And you don't. And I tell you, I was distracted because belly. And I think it may come at the beginning. I can't remember if it came in the beginning. If I'm lucky, it came at the end of class, like at the last. If it had been coming at the beginning, I would have been distracted. So I have to be careful with language. So I'm not sure if there's a way around it. So I just, so when I name parts of the body, I try not to use like what I would consider nickname. Because if somebody gets triggered by the word stomach, that they could, what if they had stomach cancer or they know someone who did, and they have indigestion problem. So I just try to stick with, no, you don't be, just adult language. Maybe I'd say belly if I was doing children's yoga. So I think about all of those things, and sometimes you're like, just relax and teach a yoga class, have fun, it'll be okay. And I try to do that, with a little bit of back around to forgiveness. I just need to be relaxed and say, you know what, it's okay, just relax, it's okay. That person is okay. They were just trying, it's okay. It
Yes,
doesn't feel like I get
they're going
petty.
through a period right now, so they have to work through it.
Yeah. And thank God for yoga for that. He said that was for yoga is like for any season, everything you're going through, it can help me because I can say, okay, I can be, I can have self compassion for me for not being able to forgive this person. Right? The Bible tells you to forgive. Society tells you forgive. Move on is for yourself. So I can be self compassionate and say, because I feel petty for hanging on to as well. And then petty for saying, well, why should I forgive? Makes you feel bad. It's not just feel petty. So I have to forgive myself for feeling petty. You're like, you're mindful acting. Why are you petty? Why did you do it? Well, I'm a spiritual person. Hey, yeah, be petty. Why is life to be petty? Okay, I recognize I'm petty. Great. And then you stop being petty. So you get for all of that. But I do have to stop because I feel like I'm being really petty. If I look at my hanging on to forgiveness. And that's the, everything. We're not perfect at all. I eat too fast. I've been working on that since last year, mindful eating. And yoga, we learn about Ayurveda. I can't eat fast. I eat too fast. And I know that. I know that. And I know that when I'm doing it. And I can see it. Sometimes I can slow myself down. And then sometimes, I'm cleaning up the table. Everybody's still eating because I'm so fast. And it's a constant thing that The forgiveness. I want to eat. I need to get more sleep. I know I need to get more sleep. Hopefully, I did a good job. I tried to put makeup on today to conceal some circles because I know it's going to see you. But I have huge my eyes. I need to get better sleep. See, it's in all of these. I still do my journaling. I still do my meditation. I still do my, I just, so I know it's going to always be a work in progress. That I'm not going
Yeah, you gotta keep in
to.
mind that it's a journey. It's not a destination. It's a lifelong thing, and it's a positive thing, and you just gotta learn how to navigate for yourself because everybody's navigation in the holistic world is gonna look different because everybody has different personalities, but I always try to keep in mind that it's a journey. There is no destination. There is no exit point. Like, once you start it and then your third eye opens up, man, you're in for a ride, and the only thing you can do is enjoy it and navigate it and make it yours, like, mold it into your own thing, you know?
Well, and that's what I'm totally into now. So that's why I'm like, okay, without the obligation of caring for parents, I didn't have children by choice. My husband's children are grown, grandchildren, fine. His mother is older. She's turning, what is she turning this year? 89 this year. But still very, active, mobile, driving, playing bridge all the time. So first time I'm like focusing on me. I feel like I'm focusing on, oops, maybe what I think I need to do. And that's good.
Yeah.
Without being a total, not thinking about anyone else. But for now, I can push myself up. I used to be an obedient daughter. I used to think, and not in a bad way. You want to help your husband, and I'm not neglecting him, but I'm going to put myself first, and it's like, him a close second. Instead of like, always ways to put your husband first, then you know, and that's fine. Like, you take care of him, he's going to take care of you. He's the head of the household, you're the neck. Both have to work together. And that's fine, but now I'm bumping it up to a little more, so I'm like, let's see how it works if I put me first and him a close second, because
Right.
it's really let's see how that goes.
Yeah, I feel like there's always, like, a time where you need to put yourself first to make sure you stays true to yourself because you can lose yourself in almost anything. Marriage, friendship, relationship, societal I don't know, norms and all that stuff, like, you can yeah, like, literally everything you can lose yourself in, and I feel like that's why grounding and meditation and looking inward and doing your introspective work or shadow work, if you wanna say, is super important because there's nothing wrong with looking inward. The only thing that you're actually doing is learning more about yourself and, you know, creating those boundaries and understanding, like, what you truly value and things of that nature and how you want your life to operate. And everybody's entitled to that, but not everybody does it. So, like, the fact that you're doing it shows a lot of strength because it can get scary. Like, sometimes, like, not all the time, but sometimes, like, looking inward and putting yourself first can lead to divorces. It can lead to a strain in any type of relationship. It can get you fired from your job. Like, it can do a lot of things. So, finding the appropriate navigation is always going to set you free from all of that, but then again, I do feel like it should be like a mandatory thing for you to look inward because how else are you gonna get to know yourself? Like, it wouldn't be a good idea to, like, please everybody but yourself because then it's like, okay, well, once you get to yourself and you sit in silence and then all of a sudden you start crying for no reason and all this and that, and you don't know how to navigate your feelings, that's a problem. That can lead to, you expiring early, and you don't wanna do that. Like,
Seriously.
you know? So it's, like, super important, like, I do love the fact that you are taking the time to put yourself first, but still aware of others around you, but you're doing it in a healthy way because some people can get, crazy with it, and it can
Yeah,
lead to bad things.
I agree. And intentional planning and getting people on board. For example, didn't have to go home to the States this winter to care for parents, but didn't want to stay where I am in Europe. It's freezing this time of year. I said, "We're in a warmer place." And I planned it and I got everybody on board that needed to be on board. And I was like, okay, I'm still grinding. I'm not freezing. It's not gray. It's not dark. This is a huge mental boost for me. I need this. This will be my first winter where I'm not caring for a parent. or something. So that type of thing. And I put me first, and I was like, and then the point was like, well, I'm gonna do this. And I would love for you to do it with me. And they were like, okay, and so it can work, it can feel scary. So you know, people can say that's a stupid idea, or you can't do that. It's like actually you can make things work that really matter to you. And I did a lot of research and planned already, and I'm doing it. So that's good example. So that's one day I'm walking into this, to this year, and into, yeah, choice one I don't have to parents to care for. Very sad for me. 'Cause I like that. That was something I was doing. It was an obligation, but I did it with pleasure, with took it seriously, and what's the word? And the fortunate. I felt fortunate to have parents to care for. You know what I mean? I took all of that. So that, so this being the first time I did, and I said, I know I'm going to have to do something drastic, and I'm not going to be freezing my butt and speeding doing it. So so doing that was good. And that came from looking in, that came from setting boundaries, that came from saying, okay, I'm gonna put myself first. And that to me is brave. It's kind of brave until it's not brave. Kind of brave until you realize you start working on it. You're like, oh, this I can do this. Isn't that brave? It's just planning. And I think if I don't like it, it's like, okay, but if I'm not going to suffer and say I should have done this. You can actually go do it. And it's like, okay, yeah, we like it. It's like 60 degrees instead of freezing or my
Yeah.
under freezing. That's a huge difference for me. Some people may not mind it, but for me, that's a huge difference. So I did that for myself this winter. So I'm looking for, and just I need to think, okay, what am I going to need this spring? And then what am I going to need this summer? And then what am I going to need this winter? And then, because I'm still in that, okay, it's going to be, I'm still like, what was it this year? First Christmas without mommy. I'm still like second, fourth Christmas without daddy. It's like, I'm still marking those things. So I'm going to ask myself every season, what do I need this season to get through? Kind of like do your pies, check in for the season, physically, intellectually, emotionally, spiritually. What am I going to need to get through this season? So I said, what am I going to need to get through to get through this winter? I'm going to need to be somewhere where it's not freezing degrees in the summer and then in the winter.
The small first start, everything starts with that one little step, and your step was like, "I wanna be warm." And that's good, though, because everything else follows from there. Because, again, like, since all the change has happened for you, like, you have to navigate it differently because the things that were there aren't there anymore. So, you do gotta start somewhere, you know? And I like being warm, right? Degree
Well, you know what I was saying, down south is kind of cold down south, isn't it? Unusually cold. Y'all
It's
shouldn't have that
unusually
cold
cold.
normally.
It doesn't usually get this cold in Alabama. Like, usually we're, like, somewhere, like, around the 30s, but we had, like, a little bit of snow yesterday, and everybody was like, "What in the world? Like, we're getting snow? Like, this is weird."
Yeah, yeah, what's going on? The off the eggs. Yeah, so just those little things can make a change. And like I said, it's not like I'm on vacation. It's just a relocation for mental, for my mental well-being. And like I said, I'll see how I feel after you come to that and what I need. And I'm prepared to give myself what I need. It's to me, I look at it, it's like you can already have a mental breakdown. And I'm not going for the mental breakdown. And I feel like, you know, graduating, because I don't take that lightly. If I really did think I was gonna have a mental breakdown, I would get professional help. I say I don't want to take that lightly and I don't want to joke, but maybe that's a bad joke. But I mean, I need to do it so that I feel well. So whatever, and I don't need to make, I will refuse to consider that any of me to feel drastic. Like this wasn't drastic to me. It's more sadness than is necessary. And we learn pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice, right? So things are gonna hurt. I don't have to suffer. I don't even like saying that. I think that's at least usually definitely for me in my situation. Because people who are literally suffering under circumstances that they cannot control, this doesn't apply. You're in a war tone, you're a child, you know what I mean? But for somebody like me, I don't have to suffer. That's a choice if I didn't. So this is not drastic for me to say, I'm not going to do that and be somewhere else for 8 weeks. So I mean that because there are some people in situations where you're suffering, they don't have a choice. But for me, suffering in a Swedish winter, there's a bit of choice. And I don't have to do that. Students are coming to speed, and that's inevitable. At least staying there and suffering, that is a choice. I was able to convince my seniors, like, and it's by the way, like, oh, that's a great idea. She's like, oh, that's a great idea. Great free ball. Go. So that's all I mean. So to see what that means. Just like the choice I made, like having been in the States for maybe 4 or 5 months. Because I had to help my parents. To me, that was I didn't have a choice. I would have suffered not being there with them, just knowing that they need me.
Yeah.
So it's a hard choice to go and be away from, your home base, but I had to be there. So like, that's part, and all the choices aren't easy, but all of them you know if you make the right choice. That's how
Yes.
I've been navigating it. Yeah.
Like, deep down inside, you just know it's the right one.
Yeah.
Trust that intuition is never wrong.
It's nothing wrong. It's a lot of times we ignore it. I mean, one thing in yoga, it's taught me how to not, how to well, in this expression, you can't unsee something. You're like,
Mhm.
once I see it, I can't unsee it. So now with yoga, I can't unhear my inner voice. That's what I want to say. I can't
Right,
unhear it.
right, and then you
It's,
can't
I
ignore it
can't.
either because it'll get louder and louder and
Exactly.
louder. It's like, "Listen to me."
Exactly. Exactly. So I said, good for to be there. Because whenever I don't listen to my voice, it's a disaster. And when I listen to my voice, that doesn't it. Everything is going to go my way. But you just feel good about what you're doing. You know?
Mhm.
Because I don't want
Yeah,
people to say, just because I practice yoga doesn't mean that bad things don't happen. I just can handle my stress better. It's not like it's kind of like that
exactly.
COVID, like a vaccine. You might like the flu, I might still get the flu, but I'm not going to get really, really sick from it. Like, like it doesn't prevent. And my yoga muscle, that's why, yeah, gosh, I'd be terrified not to have to show them yoga practice, because it's so important for my resilience, just
Yeah,
dealing
that
with
is
the
so
daily.
powerful what you said. Like, just because you are a spiritual person or into holistic practices and things of that nature, it does not exempt you from bad things happening. It does help you navigate it a lot better. It helps with emotional regulation, cognitive thinking, and things of that nature. It just gives you another avenue. That is very powerful.
Even if I find myself, if I even find myself maybe, it's like I'm quick to be like, okay, take a breath. Because sometimes anything you're like, I didn't see that coming. It's like, before I even act, I can catch myself and go, okay, take a breath. And then you're like, okay. So I'm really proud of myself for getting that. And that comes after years of doing something. So it makes me excited for how where am I going to be in a couple more years? It's like I'm holding superpowers. It's like, well, where am I going to
It
be in the
is.
next couple of years? What am I going to do then? Like it's
Yes.
not going to be like
Like, every year you develop a superpower. I think it'd be a great addition, and I feel like that's also part of your holistic expansion because it reminded you that, like, "Hey, I can add this into what I'm already doing," and that's gonna help a lot. Thank you for joining me in this space of introspection and expansion. I hope today's conversation offered guidance, clarity, or a moment of resonance that supports you on your path to deeper alignment. If this episode spoke to you, I invite you to subscribe, share with someone who might benefit, and leave a review. It truly helps the community grow. For more resources and offerings from the Tranquil Yoga Studio and the Being Totality platform, you can connect with us on our social media channels or visit our main website at tranquilyogastudio.com. Until next time, continue honoring your truth, nurturing your spirit, and stepping into the totality of who you are.